Joe, welcome back to BetMGM tonight. Hey, guess what, Joe? No Illinois questions for me to start because I want to buy. So you're welcome. Let's go to some more meaningful action down south of the Mason-Dixon line and talk about this maybe the biggest game of the entire week. There's a number of them that are in the running for that honor. But in the SEC, we got UGA traveling to Oxford in a can't miss. See what I did there? Can't miss matchup against Lane Kiffin's the Rebels. Yeah, dad jokes. I'm lame. Georgia surprisingly laying 7.5 points in this one. Handicap this matchup for us. Who takes the SEC showdown and who covers?
Yeah, I take a lot of stock in this game being at Georgia, and I have a lot of faith that Kirby Smart is going to emphasize that they need to win this game. This is a really pivotal game for them where they need to start establishing momentum if they want to get into the SEC championship game at the end of the year. Biggest reason why I like Georgia covering this spread, though, I think that Ole Miss's run defense and their defense overall, it's had a lot of excuse making for it. It's been overlooked for how weak it's been. It is currently, so far this year, 119th in EPA per rush allowed. They're giving up a lot of big plays. And the one thing that we've seen in Georgia's best offensive performances is when Chauncey Bowens and Nate Frazier and their running back room get going and they get rolling. I think Gunnar Stockton's also shown us some big playmaking ability as a scrambler, also as a passer. As much as Ole Miss has been fun, and it's a unique story with Trinidad Chambliss, I just do not think that this is a good spot for them to survive. I really like the idea of Kirby getting this thing done and us really changing our perspective on how good Ole Miss really is.
Joe, before you jumped on with us, we were talking during the commercial break, and you said you were worried, and we're both Notre Dame fans, so this matchup always worries me. But Notre Dame continues to take money, man, from 8.5 now to 9.5. 9.5 point favorites against USC, who looked really good against Michigan. Do you think this could be a trap game for Notre Dame? What do you think's going on with the line? What matchup scares you the most? Just your thoughts on this one, and who are you picking? That's a big number.
I think that Notre Dame is going to win this game. At least I'm hoping that they win this game as a Notre Dame fan, as you said. Otherwise, my mental state might completely collapse if they're fully out of the playoff mix. I at least can kind of live every single week hoping that something works out. But 9.5 points is huge. I don't understand this. I don't understand where this action is coming from, that the line is moving this much. And I'm wondering, is it going to move even more until Saturday? It doesn't make any sense to me because Notre Dame's defense has been woefully bad against teams that have fast and explosive receivers. USC's offense is top 10 in every efficiency metric possible. They are so dynamic at creating through the air with Mekhi Lemon and also Jacoby Lane, who's the perfect jump ball dominator, former basketball player type background, the way that he plays with. And Jaden Mayava has been amazing so far this year. They're banged up at running back, but they're turning to walk-ons in King Miller, who popped off against Michigan. I understand the current narrative around Notre Dame's defense, which is that it's gotten better. It has been much improved since their awful start at the beginning of the year. But I do not think that Boise State and do I think that NC State are indicators that Notre Dame's defense is fixed overnight. They gave up a ton of points to Purdue. They gave up a lot of big plays to Arkansas before they just quit in the third quarter. I am very worried about what Mario Craver did, what Casey Concepcion did, what Malachi Toney did, ending up translating to this game for Notre Dame. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a tight game, but I think the Fighting Irish at home, they get the advantage. Might be a little cold. The USC guys might not like the 50-degree weather. That might just be enough for Notre Dame to win the game.
Big one in the SEC, LSU number 10 in the country, Vandy number 17. Right now, Vandy, though, a 2.5 point favorite over LSU, total 48.5. What would you like in this one if you were to bet it?
Yeah, I think that if I were to bet this, I would end up taking LSU. I have not been an advocate for Vanderbilt, and I was one of the first people to talk about how I wasn't buying into them going into the Alabama game. I think that they are one of these teams where we've gotten really caught up in the story, and we haven't really paid enough attention to the issues and the flaws that they have as a team. They have a lot of problems up against teams when it comes to stopping the pass. They are 107th in EPA per dropback allowed, We saw the big plays that they surrendered against Alabama. Now, the thing that doesn't go for LSU's sake in this, Garrett Nussmeier has been pretty bad. Garrett Nussmeier has been struggling. How hurt is he? Is he healthy, or is he just making mistakes like he's done in the past? If he could play a 60% cleaner game, I think LSU can win, because the most important part about this, Alabama put on tape how you stop Diego Pavia. You keep him in front of you, you bait him into keeping the football, keep the ball out of Alexander's hands, and if after enough hits throughout the course of the game, he ends up just getting slowed down enough that you're able to win the time of possession and eke out that victory. I think that's how LSU's got to play this. Their defense is fast, it's physical, it's assignment sound, which is why I believe that they're going to be able to pull this thing out. And I might even consider taking LSU money line.
Yeah. Yeah, good call on that one. I like a swung big time. LSU was favored at start, -1.5, and now again they're 2.5-point underdog. So I'm with you, man. I kind of like them at +110, straight up on the money line. Joe, what ranked team is on the biggest and loudest upset alert in Week 8 in your opinion?
Most on upset alert, and I guess this kind of comes as an upset because both these teams are ranked, but I think that the one team that's going to get exposed, that's most likely to get exposed, it is going to be BYU against Utah. I think that this BYU team has been, they've been doing some great things. They've strung together a couple of nice wins, and LJ Martin's a great running back. But Bear Bachmeier had a really troubling game against Arizona. He's a true freshman. He's got a bright future ahead of him. He has been a tough kid for this team. But I'm worried about a freshman quarterback going up against a really well-coached Utah defense that generates a lot of sacks, that's fast, it's physical, they fly all over the place. I think if there's one game where we completely change our perspective on where do teams sit in their conferences? Where do they sit in the top 25? I think Utah is going to be rising after they've regained momentum since that Texas Tech loss.
Yeah, Utah right now laying 3.5 there against BYU on the road. I completely agree. I think they're going to cut them down the size and the holy war there. So, yeah, I like the Utes quite a bit, and I believe the chalk as well. Joe, we'll get you out of here on this. Give us another game or half dozen, if you might have a laundry list to share with our audience that you're particularly high on, whether side, total, money line, you want to build a parlay, be my guest. What do you like?
The game that I like the most this week, and it's the opposite of the one that hit last week that I gave to you guys. I gave you USC to cover against Michigan. I'm taking Michigan at home to cover against Washington. I made the stupid mistake. The line's 5.5, depending on where you're grabbing this. I made the stupid mistake when USC traveled to Illinois thinking that Illinois was not good enough to keep up with USC. Lo and behold, USC was asleep for the whole first half. And I reminded myself I am not going to bet like that in the future. This game specifically, though, having the body clock advantage of being a noon kickoff, I think that Washington, some of their deficiencies are going to catch up to them in this game. I really think that the run game for Michigan is going to take over. They're the more physical team. They're super physical up front. And I've seen from Washington over the past couple of weeks, they've had trouble getting Jonah Coleman going on the ground, and he is their best offensive player outside of Damon Williams. If they can't get him going, it could be a tough game for him. And when you're asleep, there's nothing worse than getting punched in the mouth for 4 quarters when you're trying to wake up going up against a physical Michigan team.
Yeah, that's what my dog does every morning. So get me out of bed so he can eat. He just wakes up and he socks me right in the mouth. So I know that feeling all too well. Outstanding stuff for the one, the only Joe Deleone, host of the Ruffino and Joe Show and the Hack City Podcast. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts. And check him out on X at Joe Deleone. Again, on X at Joe Deleone. Joe, we appreciate the time. And most importantly, Joe, I appreciate you referencing the ILL even in a bye week.
I don't know how I managed to pull that one off, but thanks, guys, as always. It's good to catch up with you.